Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is Transfers Live. Joining me, as always, is my very rude colleague.
Don't tell me off. Sorry.
Jules Smith. How we doing, brother?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. You excited?
I am excited.
Because football is nearly back.
Yeah.
It's like we've had the international
We've
break.
had a sabbatical.
Yeah,
gardening
with
leave, all that
sort
shit.
of, England and Poland and Albania, San Marino, all that nonsense. And now we can get back to the proper business of the Premier League with Brighton, and also the proper business.
And also Hove Albion.
Hove Albion, yes. Let's not forget that. They always get overlooked, don't they, poor Hove? Yes, also the serious business of transfers. So do you want to know what we've got lined up tonight?
Yeah, go on then.
Well, the shittest European tour ever.
Oh, let me pick. Is it the Beatles, 1961, 62?
That was more of a trip to Munich.
Berlin. Munich, Germany. I suppose that was just Germany.
Yeah, no, it's worse than that.
Is it?
Yeah, it's Mino Raiola's European tour.
Oh,
hey, there's one that you want to be.
Isn't it? Mino Raiola and then
in a camper van, a very big one.
Haaland and Raiola in a camper van. Well, what's he been doing? What's he been going around Europe for?
Well, he's been in Spain today. He's been going around Europe trying to flog his client, basically. So we'll be getting into that.
Haaland.
Talking about Erling Haaland. Also, Raphael Varane, as you may have seen from the thumbnail. 59 million quid
That's it.
could get you.
That'll do it.
Could get you one of France's finest.
That's good, isn't it?
Yeah, he's really good, that. And if that is the case, let's do that. Also, Jules Kounde, been linked with him, still are. Don't be harsh on this kid. Another one we've been linked with. I'm going to just put this out there. Not quite in the same, excitement levels as Varane and Kounde, but he's solid-ish. Ben White.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you spoke about him on the preview, which is out tomorrow.
Yeah,
Saturday, even. Also, Sven Botman. You love him, don't you?
Oh, I love. He's my favourite Sven since
Goran Eriksson.
He's the only one I know.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Bender.
Yes, Sven, Lars' brother, of course.
Of course.
Martial is injured, so we're going to talk about that. Paul Labille, contract. Is he going to sign?
You tell me. You better tell me in a bit.
I've
turned up for
you know
this.
my thoughts on Paul Labille, Pogba. Do get involved in the comments. Do hit like and do give us a share. Let us know what you think about all those stories. We appreciate all your support, as always. I can see people already getting in the comments. I will say this as well. I apologise for the fact that we're late. It's all Joe's fault. It's just unpunctual.
Unpunctual, is that even a word?
No.
Or is it?
What is
Rambunctious.
Yeah.
Impunctuality. Come on, mate, making up words. You're not going to get anywhere like that. You're not going to get anywhere with kids.
Oh, I'm so discombobulated after that conversation.
It's not a word either.
Right, let's start off with Mino Raiola and his European tour. Yes, as I said earlier, he's taking his client around. They've been to Barcelona today.
Oh, seeing the sights.
Seeing the sights of Barcelona. The water, the Las Ramblas. And according to sources, he's coming to England next. I was going to say Mino Raiola, but no, we're talking about Mino Raiola.
Yeah.
Fabrizio Romano said that he's going to come to England. That's the next stage of the tour.
So tell us more about this tour then, because in my head, and when you've described it so far, I literally just think they're going around doing gigs. Doing like stand-up comedy or music or something. What is this tour?
Can I compare this to when Paul Ince drove Thomas Ince to like Swansea?
I hope you can. I hope you can compare it to that. Go on then, compare it.
Hull.
Palace, Hull, winner. Yeah. I reckon this is the best. This is a great summer tour, this, isn't it? And you think, I already imagine it. Come on, Erling. I bet Erling's one of those who's always late. Yeah. Stop doing your hair.
Yeah.
Mino's
I reckon Mino's like that as well.
Do you?
I reckon Mino's like one of those deliberately late. Let's have a meeting at 9 o'clock and he turns up at 11:30.
Yeah.
Eating a burger as he walks in, just couldn't care. In his like shorts and flip flops, like proper like I'm
just throwing half a burger in the bin.
Yeah. And then his phone rings. Hang on a minute. Just got to take this.
Got to take this.
Do you know what I mean? Just all them sort of horrible little power plays that he does.
So they've been in Barcelona and they've been talking to Barcelona, haven't they?
Yes, because
about selling Erling Haaland to. Barca.
As it says on the graphic there, it says Mino Raiola is meeting with Real Madrid after Barcelona. The plan for Haaland is clear. Talk with top 5 clubs interested, their projects, proposals, and then decide for the future. It'll be a long race. Dortmund won't accept less than 150 million euros to sell him this summer. That's from Fabrizio, Tier 1 ultra reliable Romano, as he's known.
It's like the fucking Apprentice, this, isn't it? They're in the back of the car, right, we've got a meeting at this, we've got a meeting at Barcelona, we've got a meeting at Woolworths, we've got a meeting at Game, we've got a meeting at JD Sports. They're like, what do you mean? Top 5 clubs, give us a proposal, what are you going to do for it? Like he's, I don't even know, God. We'll just bow down, we'll do anything you want. Here's the proposal, here's the outline, here's the pitch deck, just giving him everything. Do you want to come and play for Barcelona? Do you want to come and play for Man United? Yes or no? You know what we do. You know what players we've got. Don't act dumb. Don't act like we need to give you a spreadsheet, a PowerPoint presentation about what Barcelona is. Piss takers, a lot of them. So there's top 5 clubs then. Are United one of them? We better be.
I hope so. Saber MK42 says, only thing worse than Raiola is Jay's story about getting caught with a bonk on in the bath. A bonk on in the bath.
Bonk on.
Hey,
interesting.
I like that.
I mean, a lot of people want to see that story. Just give us the cliff notes.
Right, you started this because you were talking about, what was it?
Don't worry about
danger.
Me. Don't you worry about
danger
me,
wanking, right? And I said I've never done danger wanking.
I've never done it.
You were talking about this is where you try and you apparently you shout your parents.
So
up.
you start.
Right.
You
I'm
commence.
sorry, by the way, that we're
this is really gross.
We have to give context to the.
So you commence.
Right.
At the point of commensation.
Yeah, of compensation of the.
Compensation.
You know, the masturbation.
Yeah.
I meant compensation of the masturbation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is this? Some sort of 90s
rap
song or something? Do you remember at the start of, anyway, Rapper's Delight, some of the lyrics in that are so good.
Yeah.
Because you look at where rap got to in like the 90s and 2000s, the sort of words per minute.
Yeah.
Some of that stuff's just like, I went to the store and I had a nice day. It's just
I'm
so good.
Wonder Mike, and I'd like to say hello.
Yeah, it's so good. You think how detailed and sort of poetic it got by the 90s. Anyway, so you start, and at the point of commensation, you go, Mom, come here, I need your help.
Oh,
and by the time...
I need your help, that's even worse than I thought.
But that's not contextual.
That sounds
that's just
really bad.
Anything to get them walking.
Right.
And by the point they get to your door,
Yeah.
you have to have done, otherwise obviously you're getting caught.
Right. And
so that's where the conversation went. And anyone who's watching this, I apologise. I really apologise.
We were told spent a £5.
Yeah, so we're just giving context.
So
you told us a story, a very lovely story, from your time as a boy.
Yes.
And what happened?
Well, I've never done danger wanking. And I was saying that once I almost got caught doing that. I'd run a bath. I was waiting for the bath to fill. I can't believe I've got to repeat this story.
What were you filling it with? Water.
Like water, yeah.
Mostly.
And then I thought, there was a shampoo bottle with a lady on it or whatever. I don't know.
A picture of some hair.
Yeah. I was like, go on then.
Yeah.
I'm only 14 or whatever. So I started doing the old business.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, my mum walked into the bathroom, right?
Why?
And to get something, just to use the bathroom. She didn't know I was in there, whatever. So I screamed, so I jumped in the bath like I was I'm just having a bath. Jumped in the bath, but the bath was red hot because when you start running a bath, no matter what you do with it, hot and cold, it's always roasting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I jumped in, screamed because it was red hot, jumped straight back out, obviously still had a bit of an add-on and everything, and was like,
because hot water gives you the horn as well.
And then tried to act like I was singing or something to hide all the screaming and nonsense that had gone on.
God.
Yeah, it was a rather awkward dinner that night. Anyway,
football.
Enough of that nonsense and that filth. Sorry about that, people. Everyone that had to listen to that. Yeah, I mean, Raiola is doing what he does best. He's trying to get his. My missus is in the comments as well.
She's not. Ignore that.
The face palm comment. I'm sorry.
Else.
So Raiola's taking his client round there. I mean, I think it's going to go down to like Barcelona, Chelsea, Real Madrid. Are we going to be in this for 150 million euros? Do we have to get to a point where we've got to start being a bit realistic about this and say, this isn't happening for Manchester United Football Club?
For me, we can always be realistic. You can always say, I think, there are other clubs interested. We're going to have to fight every team in Europe to get him. But I would say that it's not unrealistic to say that United could have a chance. And if he's already in Manchester talking to City, might as well take him round Old Trafford, haven't we? I know it's ridiculous. I'm only joking with that. But
can you believe how low with something like that? It's it's going to go to City, but Max will go, do you want to come and look at
come and have a look.
Oh, you're at this party?
We've
got a party going on over here.
Yeah.
It's not,
just
not as many guests than that. But
there's more guests.
There's more guests, but there's not as much cake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We ain't got any buffet food.
Yeah, but we've got some.
We've just got breadsticks left.
We used to have loads of cake.
Yeah.
We had more cake than anyone for a while.
And now there's still some of the crumbs left from the old cake, the really big cake.
Yeah, if you want to come to our party.
And the DJ is actually one of the people who our old DJ taught how to DJ. And he's quite good. He plays a lot of the same records.
In fact, you know him. You DJ'd at your party when you were a little.
At your bar mitzvah.
Yeah, when you were 12 or whatever.
Yeah.
Erling. No, I think it's not going to happen.
Do you not?
No.
Why is the right? We come into work and we chat about this.
Yeah.
And you say, oh, there's a chance it could happen and all that.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he's got in the camper van, filled it with Scotch eggs, because I reckon that's all Mino Raiola eats.
He eats
Scotch
them
eggs
constantly as well, doesn't he?
pops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, honestly, he's a nightmare for it.
Filled the camper van with Scotch eggs. Next stop, Barca. Next stop, Madrid. Next stop, London. Next stop, Chelsea. I mean... Manchester.
I always
Why
felt
have you now
us.
lost confidence?
No, it's because, right, I've always had this little sort of sneaky feeling that maybe because of the fact that it's a big marquee signing and it kind of, makes sense with shirt sales and with the marketing and the fact he knows Ollie and the fact that he's that good, he can take to the next level, which could increase revenue as well, and that's how the Glazers think. I thought there might be a slim chance that this could happen. The same way that Pogba happened, the same way that Maguire happened. It's a massive signing, but...
Pogba's the real one.
Yeah,
Pogba. Like a big European player that no one thought we'd get.
And it's like, and again, it's a similar thing, innit? It looked like he was going to go City, it looked like he was going to go Madrid or Barcelona, but we got him, and it's like, what, he's worth getting because he brings in a lot of money, and also he's a fantastic footballer. So I kind of thought that, but the problem we've got now is there's obviously some proper interest from Barcelona and Real Madrid, and as me and you've discussed, it doesn't matter how skint they appear to be. They've always got at least 200 million quid for transfers. So, to me, it just smells like they might end up there. Also, you throw in the mix of Raiola and United's relationship isn't great. He doesn't have that issue with the likes of Barcelona. I know he has it with Pep Guardiola. Doesn't have that issue with Barcelona. Doesn't have that issue with Real Madrid or Chelsea. Chelsea, if they really wanted him, could afford him. If Abramovich says get him, they can afford him. Well, with us, it's a different kettle of fish. And I'm just beginning to lose a lot of confidence in us getting him. I've always thought we'd get one marquee signing, but now you're looking at it in 150 million euros with a bidding war. The only reason Dortmund didn't get 130 million euros, Jadon Sancho, last season, was because only United were really in for him. It wasn't United versus Chelsea versus Real Madrid versus Barcelona versus the Scousers or whatever. It was either United or no one. And when United went, that didn't have anywhere else to go. Well, this is different because you've got potentially 5 clubs here. So even if United said, not for us, there's still another 4 that will probably say, yeah. So Dortmund can be a little bit more sort of forceful because I think it'll happen as well. So, and also, there's that thing of, Jadon Sancho had a few years left on his contract. Haaland next season, that's that buyout clause, which it's a level playing field for everyone, isn't it? So no one's going to want to risk that. Dortmund probably don't want to do that because they'll lose out 75 million. And let's face facts, like you always point out, with Haaland in the team, Dortmund win nothing. Without Haaland in the team, Dortmund win nothing.
Yeah.
So they may as well have 150 million.
Nothing with 150 million in the bank.
Exactly. Yeah. So they may as well have that keeps the club going for the next 10 years rather than keep him and potentially lose half his transfer fee in the summer. What do you reckon?
I think it's going to be a struggle for them to get 150 million for him. Like, when you think about the fact that his buyout clause is 72 million, and then we're supposed to believe that so basically what you're paying for is, how much is it to buy one season's worth of Erling Haaland? And we'll add that on to what his buyout clause is next year, because he's not going for any more than 72 million next year. So basically, they're saying we're not going to take any less than 150 million. You're telling me that one season of Erling Haaland is worth 78 million pounds?
Yeah.
77 million, whatever it is, depending on 72, 73 million euros. To me, that's obscene and not real. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. The only one, maybe I kind of get that, what was it, Hazard, who had a similar time left on his deal and they got 100 million for him. So maybe it does make a bit of sense. You're basically buying 1 year's worth of a contract and putting that on top of the buyout clause. There's going to be a lot of interest in him wherever he goes, whenever he goes, whether it's this year or next year, because he's, arguably the best striker in the world already. So that, everyone's going to be after him. Everyone could do with a striker. And there seems to be something at the minute. And we talked about this, and this was probably a year ago now. But you look around Europe, and this was before Haaland had sort of come to prominence. We were talking about this, or I was talking about this. All of the top strikers in the world are over 30. So this was, let's say 18 months ago, this was Cavani, Suarez, Lewandowski, Ronaldo, Messi, Benzema, Aguero. Zlatan.
Yeah.
They're all over 30.
Yeah.
Who else? Who's even the next best striker after them? Do you know what I mean? And now Haaland's come along. He's 10 years younger than and then all the rest of the best strikers in the world. There's really a sort of a lack of world-class strikers in their 20s.
Yeah.
And I mean, even Aubameyang at that time was considered one of the best in the world.
Yeah.
It's really only Lukaku who occupies a sort of mid-20s world-class striker, sort of that mantle. So it's no wonder everyone's after him, because all these giant clubs that have had world-class strikers for the last 10 years are now looking at those strikers and going, they're retiring in 5 years, let alone not going to be any good in the meantime. So it's no surprise that everyone's after him, because, like I said, there just isn't very many good young strikers in the world. So
some people in the comments are saying there's Harry Kane as well, but again...
Harry Kane, I suppose.
But again, the sort of figures being bandied about for him. Yeah. Don't forget as well, Harry Kane...
So it's Harry Kane and Lukaku are the two world-class strikers.
And Harry Kane signed
a
long-term deal, didn't he? Was it last season? He signed like a 6-year deal or something. Yeah. So if you want him, you're paying 150 million. Mm-hmm. Now you look at it and you go, okay, you can get Harry Kane, who's 27, whose injury record, it's not bad. If you actually look at it.
To be fair, not much worse than or better than Haaland. So maybe
it's similar.
Take that out.
There's just those problems with his ankle a little bit. He's got those ankle issues, hasn't he? So you're looking at it, you go, okay, you can get 27-year-old Harry Kane for 150 million quid, a player who is fantastic football, will get you loads of goals, or you can get this 20-year-old, this youngster who is going to keep getting better as well. Harry Kane's probably at his peak or around that. Erling Haaland, despite how good he is now, could actually get even better. Yeah. Done it at the top level, done it in Champions League.
Here's a question for you. Since maybe R9, when's the last time a striker was this good at the age of 20? I mean, I guess you could look at Mbappe, but for me, Mbappe's not a striker, he's a winger.
I mean,
but, you know,
you can.
When was
some
it?
people may.
Ronaldo wasn't this good at 20.
Even Rooney, I don't think was this prolific.
Oh, he's never this. He was never this prolific in his career.
No, he had like one or two seasons, didn't he, where he had like 30 goals. But if you look at Wayne Rooney's career, by and large, it's around the 15-goal season mark. Yeah. And then he has like 2 or 3 seasons where it's 30. Yeah. But he's pretty consistently good with his, and also with Wayne Rooney.
Wasn't nowhere near this.
He played a lot deeper. He went just out. He even played in midfield for the last part of his career. I don't ever think Erling Haaland will end up there. So no, I agree. He's a bit of a prodigy. He's coming. You know, he's just a fantastic young footballer who doesn't seem phased. Can keep getting better. One of the leading goal scorers in the Champions League as well, if not the leading
goal scorer by about 4 goals. Sorry, if I'm not mistaken.
So it makes sense. And if you look at, you mentioned there about the likes of Hazard, we mentioned it past Felipe Coutinho, Griezmann, who else has gone for massive money? Dembele, who's named Dembele.
João Felix.
Yeah, João Felix. None of them have had the sort of ballistic starts of their career that Haaland's had. No. They had great starts because that's why they went for massive money, but not on this level. No. He's even a cut above that.
Oh yeah, I mean, Haaland is twice the player that João Felix is, twice the player that Dembele is, twice the player that Coutinho is. Let's be honest. I mean, Coutinho is a decent player, but he's not Erling Haaland levels of good. He's never been the best player in the world in his position. And I would say, other than Lewandowski, in terms of just how it's almost like when you watch him play, there's an extra level of menace and ferociousness to him. He's got like an anger to him when he plays it. Everything's just full pelt. He hits the ball so hard every time. We've not seen anything like this for a long time. So there's going to be dozens of clubs interested and a handful that are interested and capable of not only offering the money that he wants, but the football and the chances of winning things that he wants. And for me, that's where United maybe fall down.
No, I agree. Just looking at in the chat and in the comments, 22 says Michael Owen. Michael Owen was phenomenal as a youngster, but once he started getting injured, and how long ago was that? We're going back
25 years.
20 years, 1998 was.
Yeah, 25 years ago nearly.
He's probably at his peak when he was, probably about 20s. He went rapidly downhill. Yeah. Someone else was saying, that work says dealing with Tottenham, Kane would cost virtually as much as Haaland. I think he would. And one's 7 years younger than the other.
I suppose he is more proven, Kane. Kane has been the top scorer at a World Cup. He has been one of the top scorers in the Premier League.
Don't give me that World Cup.
Well, no, because I'm going to give you that.
Lots of penalties against Panama.
So what?
What do you do?
Yeah, but
right, okay, yeah, it is a World
anyone
Cup,
who can be the top scorer in a World Cup has easier games in the group stage that they can accumulate a lot of goals in.
That's a fair,
I know he didn't score.
Closer and people like that have done it in the past.
I know he didn't score a hat-trick.
It's not like you top goal someone and you're not a good footballer. I know he is.
Yeah.
I get where you're coming from. Go on, sorry.
But yeah, he's done those things. Haaland hasn't done that yet. Haaland hasn't won a big trophy yet. Hasn't done anything. I know. Obviously, Kane hasn't won a big trophy either. But we've seen it for longer, so you do have more of a proven track record with Kane. But other than that, that's about it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's get involved in the comments. Give us a like. Give us the video a like. Give us a share as well. We're going to move on to our next topic, which I think is Raphael Varane.
Yes.
The Real Madrid, talking about winning everything. I mean, this kid, 27, I think he is, he's literally won the lot, hasn't he? And it's ridiculous. And apparently, the news is that he's available for around £59 million. Real Madrid have named their price. So it's between, 60 million euros, which is £51 million sterling, and 70 million euros, which is £59 million. I mean, if that is the case, these are reports coming out of Spain. If that is the case, less than 60 million for Raphael Varane. Is that?
That seems like a
no-brainer of all no-brainers.
Well, unless he proves to be, I don't want to say Joe Gomez because I know he's not that bad, but if he just proves to be the person who can play next to Ramos but isn't actually that good, unless that's the case, which I don't think it is, he's one of the best centre-backs in the world and has been for 5 years, I would say.
I can't get over with this kid. Fergie wanted him. Fergie wanted
when he was like
Varane.
17.
Yeah, and he's still only 27.
I know.
And he's still like one of the best centre-backs in the world who could potentially have another 6 years at the top in him, if not more. And it's like, how is that a thing? Like, he was just an absolute phenomenon when he was at Erlang's. Obviously, he didn't come to us. He went to Real Madrid. He's won a lot at Real Madrid. He's won a lot with France. You mentioned something the other week when we were talking about Raphael Varane, because we mentioned him a few times because this story keeps rumbling on, that sometimes now and again he can look a little bit like he's got one in him. And was it against City?
Yeah,
I saw it.
Two in the same game.
And because I don't watch as much football as you, I don't want to get
he fucked up that whole time for them, by the way.
And I don't want to go, oh well, saw him play against City and I know can be guilty of this. Someone plays against City, didn't do well, he's rubbish. I can see from what I've seen Raphael Varane, he's a very good footballer. But is that a concern? Because if he does come into the Premier League, he's going to be under a lot of pressure early doors. People are going to expect him to hit the ground running. They're not going to go, he's just got to the Premier League. They're going to go, he's won a World Cup. He's won the Champions League, 4 times, whatever it is. He's won the Liga 3 times. He's won everything. He's going to come in his team and he's going to be amazing. And if he isn't, he's going to be like, hang on a minute, is this another Angel Di Maria type scenario where he's mint except in the Premier League?
Yeah, I don't think that's the case. I don't think I wouldn't be worried about that personally. That wouldn't be more worried. I'd be more worried about his injury record, which has been much better in the last handful of years.
Yeah.
But the start of his career was tormented, sort of non-stop with injury. The first 4 or 5 years at Real Madrid was terrible for injury. I know, like I said, it has got better in recent seasons. But what you need to remember is all centre-backs make mistakes. Yeah. And people have periods where they look, completely imperious, completely impervious to any mistake or being taken on or missing a header or missing a kick or anything like that. But centre-backs make mistakes, and when they do, it leads to goals. It's no secret that that's how it works, and that he's going to make some mistakes. Excuse me, but he's a very good centre-back. And I mean, look at Ramos, who's next to him, who I would say is in the conversation, Ramos, for best centre-backs of all time.
He has to be. He has to be in the conversation.
He's in the conversation, yeah.
I think you're being silly. Like, it's not you. I mean, like, someone would be silly, but he's not.
He's one of the best defenders of all time.
Yeah.
And how many red cards has he had? 30. Like, if you want to look at mistake, he probably misses as many matches suspended throughout his career than Zlatan has injured. Yeah. So it's like, if you want to look at that as a mistake, that's a big mistake, but he's still regarded as one of the best defenders ever. I don't think he makes a lot of mistakes, and again, to me, it's not a problem when a defender makes 1 mistake or 2 mistakes or even a handful of mistakes in a season, because if you've got a good players in front of him, a good goalkeeper behind him, half of those mistakes don't even end up in goals for starters, because a defender will bail you out or your goalkeeper will bail you out, and the ones that do end up in goals, hopefully. You're in a team where, look at Man United against Sheffield United when Henderson gave the ball away and they scored in the first game against them, not the one where we lost. We won that game still, so it didn't really matter that mistake happened. And I think it's weird that we live where everything has to be like a little highlights package. So Varane's mistakes at United, 2 minutes long, and it's 5 mistakes that he's made. Yeah. When really, every single player that's ever played football has a highlights package of mistakes that's, in their career somewhere. So I won't worry about that. I think he's a very good player. And 60 million quid, what else are we going to buy?
I mean, 60 million quid nowadays, I never thought I'd be saying this, but it's true, isn't even like the very top end, is it? If you spend 60 million quid, you're guaranteed almost you're getting a world-class star. Yeah. Nowadays, you can spend was it Sigurdsson went for 50? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You can quite easily buy a 60 million pound. I think, was it Mendy to City? Was that around
50?
51,
I think.
51, and, the jury's probably still out on him.
Well, I would say the fact that Zinchenko's
not even out,
2 titles as the starting left back since Mendy's been there suggests the jury isn't out.
He's just a waste of money, basically. Was there the club that can afford to do it? So, it's not like you go, 60 million, that's ridiculous money. listen, if he is available for that, then we should get him. Darren Cox says, get Varane in. It's a signing that immediately improves the team. Someone else saying we need another striker and midfielders. Yeah, I think we do. Dazza Music says Varane, Sancho and Jack Grealish if Pogba goes. Scrappy Doo says, how old is Varane? He's 27, I think. But like Joe was saying, early on in his career, if you look at his sort of, stats in terms of appearances and things like that, he struggled to get past the sort of 30 game mark. Yeah. He had like one game in his first 4 seasons where he played past 30 games. Then it starts to get better, and as you said, Joe, he nailed it. Last 4 seasons, in all competitions, over 40 games every season. Yeah. He's on 36 this season as well, so he's destined to smash that, hopefully anyway. So he's had a very sort of illustrious career, but also his injury record has improved of late. Even on the international scene, he's played quite a lot of internationals as well. How many has he played? He's played 72 internationals for France. Got 72 caps, which is a lot. But again, we're talking about a player who's been on the scene here for like 10 years at the highest level.
He was 19 when he first broke into that Real Madrid team,
which
is unheard of.
So he got his first, if he got his first international caps in 2013, and he's had a couple of years where he's done like 13, 14. So
yeah, he was 19.
He's done really well on the international front as well, and as you know, sort of culminating in that World Cup win. So a huge talent. If we can get him, we've been linked with a few. Kounde, and it looks like he's going to go to the Scousers now, I think.
That's all but done, isn't it?
Is that all but done? Kounde, I'm going to get to in a minute. We were linked with Upamecano, but obviously that's gone out the window.
He's gone to Bayern.
I'm not just saying this because it's like probably one that out of any of them that's the most likely to happen now. But Varane would be the pick of that bunch, wouldn't it?
Yeah, easily. I mean, let's not. You're not picking someone. For me, I think potential is all well and good, but look at what he's actually done. Look at what he does every week. Varane has been one of the best centre backs in the world for, like you said, nearly 8 years. Like, let's not be silly. Let's not try and guess that Kounde is going to be better than Varane one day, because for now, when you're buying what you're buying, Varane's clearly the better player. Sorry.
Another player I just mentioned there, who we have been linked with, is Jules Kounde. And now again, they're similar, these fees. There's a lot of fees being bandied about that are all sort of similar. Anything ranging from sort of 50, 60, 68 million it goes up to. I think you can see on the graphic there, Sevilla have slapped a £68 million price tag on Kounde, so it's a little bit more than Varane, but not ridiculously much more. He's 22 and he's among the most appreciated players on United's radar after an outstanding campaign at the heart of Sevilla's defence. Where do you stand on this one, Arkid? Big fan of Jules Kounde? Do you think he's the
what I've seen, which isn't a whole hell of a lot. I like him. He looks good. He seems to match the style of the player we need, the kind of the profile of the player that we need. Decent on the ball. I mean, he's definitely good at carrying the ball. I don't know what his passing's like. He's good at carrying the ball forward. He's a quick player. That looks to be what United are after, doesn't it? A quick player. All the players we've been linked with there are kind of. I mean, Kounde's a little bit smaller, but the rest of them, all tall players, all quick players. So that seems to be the profile of what we're going for. I like the sound of him. I'm not gonna lie and say that I've watched 30 games of Sevilla this season, but the highlights I've seen, what I've seen of people who have seen those games talking online in forums and different places and social media, is that he's a very good player. These fees that are brought out, it's not. Generally speaking, you hear a fee, that fee doesn't tend to happen. It'll be somewhere in the ballpark of that, or they want 68 million, it'll be 42 million plus 18 in add-ons, or 50 million plus 18 in add-ons, should I say. Like, you never know quite how these are going to break down. But if we got the chance to get Varane for less than that, I mean, why would you do anything other? Again, who knows how reliable the exact numbers on these stories are. But for me, he looks like a good player, but if you're picking between the two, you'd have to be, stupid to not pick Varane, wouldn't you?
No, I agree. Get involved in the comments. Let us know what you think. Pinado in the super chat says, people calling for Grealish if Pogba leaves puzzle me. Like, do they realise that Grealish and Pogba are not even remotely the same type of players? I think a few people in the chat have been talking about Grealish coming in if Pogba goes. Quickly on that, do you agree with what Pinado's saying there?
There were a lot of heavy reports that Grealish was going to City. That I saw in the last couple of weeks. And then there's a Telegraph article, it was either yesterday or the day before, that basically said City's interest in Grealish has cooled because, again, Villa want too much money for him. Now, if they're getting Haaland as well, then maybe what would be too much money for City on top of what they're paying for Haaland wouldn't be too much money for United if we aren't getting Haaland. But you would have to imagine that if City are sort of balking at the price of a player, United aren't going to walk into that room and go, nah, fine, that's fine, that. I'll give you that money cash up front. Because City have got more money than United have. So if Grealish is too expensive for City, then I would assume he's too expensive for United, unless, of course, they think Haaland is done and they don't want to spend 250, they just want to spend 150.
Do you think, I was thinking this last season, I think me and you might have chatted about it when we were linked with Grealish, and we had like Smalling, Lingard, surplus to requirements. Lingard's stock was pretty low there, it's a lot higher now. Do you think there is a possibility of player swap deals there? I mean, if you look, maybe Tuanzebe, and I love Axel Tuanzebe, and I hope he stays at United. I think he's still got a chance of making it. But he went to Villa, had a great season. It hasn't really happened for him. Do you think there could be money plus, let's go crazy, Lingard and Tuanzebe to Villa, which could make a deal that Villa like and that Tuanzebe and Lingard look at and go, Villa is a big club. It's got some decent investment. It's got a decent squad. All right, they're going to lose Grealish, but you know, they're not a club that have given up. Do you know what I mean? This isn't a club where you're going to be sort of almost guaranteed to get relegated. Do you think there could be something there, or do you think that's not realistic?
Well, in terms of swapping Jesse Lingard for someone, one thing that has happened with him going to West Ham, and whether it's West Ham that buy him or not, is he's improved his stock massively in the last sort of 2 months since he joined West Ham. I think it's 5 goals, 3 assists in 8 games, or 7 games.
Ridiculous.
For West Ham. So really good start from him. And I think what the trap United need to not fall into is just selling him to West Ham because it's convenient. Like, we've now got a player that can be sold, that is worth something, that, you know, multiple clubs would be after someone that can offer what Jesse Lingard does. And we need to know what we've got. So we can't just go, oh yeah, West Ham, you having what, 6 million? Yeah, go on then. It's easy, innit? You don't have to pack his bags again. When really, if someone like Villa or another club that has a player that we want and we don't want to spend big money on, you've got, you know, 15, probably 20 million quid's worth of player in Jesse Lingard there.
Yeah.
That you can now use as sort of make weight in any kind of bigger deal, and you know, and obviously not that he's just some piece in a transfer, you know, game of chess, but that kind of is how these things boil down at the end of the day, isn't it? Players want to leave, and United have to get the best they can for him. I just worry that we'll go, oh, he's already at West Ham. We'll just do what we did with Javier Hernandez.
You just took the words right out of my mouth, mate, because Hernandez still bothers me now.
Was it 8.5 million?
It's something ridiculous. Like, one of the most proven goal scorers in Europe.
He was like 28.
Yeah, he was just banging him in it. He went Real Madrid on loan. That's how good he was. Do you know what I mean? And he was banging in goals there. And it's like, yeah, oh, go on, you want him, you can have him. And we did it quite a bit with our players around like Van Gaal era, where you look back and you go, actually, we let them go far too cheaply. And it does seem to be a bit of a trait, especially when you look at other clubs like, say, the Scousers, for example. He's just very astute at getting rid of players for good money. You've seen the likes of Jordan Ibe and Dominic Solanke go for massive...
25 million and 30 million?
Yeah, like, you know, bang average players who go for, like you say...
Coutinho, 120 million.
Yeah, and he's like, he was good, but he wasn't one of the best players on the planet. No. Or the best player on the planet.
I think he was like the 3rd most expensive player ever.
Yeah, it's just like, they're very... And with us, it's like, what you want him, we don't really get in our team, can have him.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of that ties in with our wage structure and how ridiculous it is because we pay him such high wages. Just getting him off the wage bill is a massive bonus. But with Jesse Lingard, I think, like you say, like while his stock is high, if he is going to move on, which I think is probably best for all concerned, then a swap deal should be a good option. Steve Jarvis in the chat says Rice and 20 million for Lingard.
Yeah, there you
go. Stephen, also someone else called Stephen. Sorry, says we let Johnny Evans and Welbeck go too easily. I'm with you on the Danny Welbeck front, mate. Never should have let him go.
Johnny Evans is a massive, like, ridiculous.
Because he went for, like, was it 12 million or something? Or was it 10 or something like that? And then, like, 4 years later, was linked with a move to City for 30 million.
Yeah, went to West Brom, who I've got a mate who's a West Brom fan, and him and what he said about other West Brom fans, absolutely loved him. Yeah. Like, was their best player by a mile. And then he goes to Leicester, is one of their best players. Yeah. And like, 12 million quid for him.
Yeah, it does seem like United just have that sort of fire sale attitude when it comes to moving players on. And yeah, the best thing for the club may be to use some of the players we've got that are surplus to requirements. Because if you're, you know, an Axel Tuanzebe or Jesse Lingard, or I'm probably pushing the boat a bit when I say someone like Phil Jones, no disrespect to him, but I don't know. Maybe even if David De Gea moves on, maybe he could be I know that sounds crackers to say, but you don't know. There's talk of him maybe going back to Spain, now he's starting a family and stuff. If that happens, maybe he could be a makeshift in in some sort of deal. Another centre-back, Joe, because I know you love your centre-back, son.
How many more even are there?
Well,
There's only
we're
about
buying
14
them
in the world.
all of them. It's like, what's that? Spain? Yeah, we'll have a bit of that.
We'll have that.
Hang on a minute. Germany? Germany. Tell you what, let's come back to Blighty. Let's have a bit of Brighton's finest, Ben White.
It's like, do you know where Red Hot World Buffet?
Yes.
They've got all the cuisines under one roof.
Yes.
That's what Man United's transfers is like, isn't it? I'll have a little bit of German,
Yeah.
a little bit of Spanish.
Oh.
But you know what? Bit of fish and chips.
Excellent choice, sir. Now, this is a report from, I think it started in the Evening News, and it might come out of some of the stories doing the rounds in Brighton, that Ben White is open to a move to come to United, and we're showing interest in him. You can see from the graphic there, it says United show interest in Ben White. Would Ben White make a good centre-back partner for Harry Maguire? Now, this...
How old is he, Jay?
I think he's 20... I want to say 22, but I'm going to have to Google it because...
Sorry, I didn't mean
No,
to
no, it's all right. No, I should know this because we've covered him. 23, sorry.
Right.
So he's 23 years old. He went on loan to Leeds last season. From what, I always think a good sort of gauge of these things is when you look at fan forums, you look at social. If a whole fan base is raving about a player, you can tell he's usually had a good season. They got promoted. He played 46 games. The fans really liked him. I think we can take a gamble here and say he had a good season in the Championship for Leeds United. Not that I saw any of it. He's come back to Brighton.
And they're doing well this season.
I think you look at Brighton's performances, they're not bad. It's okay, the table isn't great, but they've, as we know with Brighton, their problem is they can't finish the dinner. They just can't finish chances. But he's played 28 games, he's had a lot of plaudits, been linked with a move. At the age of 23 as well, he's got a lot of years left in him. United apparently monitoring him, interested in him, and you would think if we went for him, he wouldn't cost as much as a Kounde or a Varane or any of the others we've mentioned.
I don't know.
Does this feel like a bit, I don't know, better than it, but almost like Davis going to the Scousers from Preston, sort of like, he's a defender who's decent.
Who exists.
Yeah.
He's not that old.
And he's playing in the Premier League, let's get him. Like, I know obviously Preston aren't in the Premier League, but for this case, I don't know a lot about this kid, and he seems solid, but I'm just thinking, for me, if Ben White's fit and Eric Bailly's fit, who's the best defender there?
Well, let's forget Eric Bailly. All
right.
Lindelof.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. Yeah.
Come on.
Is Ben White better than Victor Lindelof?
Of course he ain't.
Yeah, it's like this whole thing me and you talk about in the preview.
People act like he's shit,
Lindelof,
by the way.
Yeah, they do, and it's like the same thing me and you talk about in the preview when people go about Maguire. We should replace him with Connor Cody, and he's like, no, we shouldn't. He's not that. Harry Maguire's a lot better than Connor Cody. He just doesn't play for United, Connor Cody, so you think he's better. So this feels a little bit like Ben White comes in. Even, I know Axel's had his injuries, but even is he a better defender than Axel? There's a debate there. This isn't a massive step forward. This isn't someone who comes in, for me, into Manchester United's team automatically as Harry Maguire's partner. No. He's someone who comes in and is one of four.
Well, I suppose there is where
maybe
his place in the squad would fit. So if you think of Phil Jones, at some point, whether he's out the door or not, even hypothetically, or not hypothetically, let's assume he doesn't leave this summer again, because why would he? He doesn't leave. Phil Jones is there. He doesn't play for Manchester United. He's not even. He's barely in the squad, Phil Jones, and I don't think he even was in the Europa League squad, was he? So Phil Jones doesn't really count. Eric Bailly is injury prone. I mean, officially, I think we're not upsetting any apple carts by saying that.
No.
Axel Tuanzebe is on the list of might be injury prone. It kind of looks like it, but I'm not going to.
I think we'll
young enough that
we'll
give
him
Axel
one more season, shall we? Yeah.
So there, we've basically got Lindelof, Maguire, one half of Axel Tuanzebe, who isn't as good as Bailly but is more available, and then Eric Bailly.
Yeah.
That's four players, two of which are arguably injury prone.
Yeah.
We could do with another centre back.
Yeah.
We sold Rojo, we sold Smalling. We are down in numbers in terms of centre backs, and we're lucky that our number one centre back in Maguire is never injured, but that won't last. That's not going to last his whole career. And Victor Lindelof, who's dealing with a back injury at the moment, who knows how what the future will be for that. So if he comes in as a squad player, who then can prove himself over a couple of years in the Europa League, in the Carling Cup, in the FA Cup, or when people are injured, fair enough. But if he's meant to come in and be better than Victor Lindelof, he just isn't. And maybe you could say to those people who said, why didn't we sign Maguire when he left Hull?
This is what I was getting to.
This is maybe
Is that? Because that is a good argument, that. And it's people say, don't they, go, we were scouting. Why aren't we able to see Van Dijk when he was at Celtic or Maguire when he was at Hull?
Yeah.
Why are we waiting until it's like, oh, well, now you can have him for 80 million quid? Is that perhaps this? Because, we could have been stood here 6 years ago, whatever it was, talking about Harry Maguire and going, what? Hull? Mate,
Yeah.
I don't think so. He's not yet. He was almost good enough as soon as he got to Leicester. His form just went, because he was in a good team and a system that suited him, and then he started getting in the England team a lot more on the back of it. So maybe there is a bit of that, but I think the problem you've got, if you're only going to Solskjaer, is you get Ben White in, and maybe he's sort of 2 or 3 years away, or a year away even, but you haven't got a year.
No.
You haven't, if you're Ollie. If you have this year and Ben White is okay, and you finish 5th, you're sacked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You aren't in this. I know he might be signing a new deal in the summer, Ollie, but he doesn't have the luxury of Fergie could have come in and said, could have just said, this kid's going to be great in 3 years, get him now, because Alex Ferguson's not going anywhere. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has to have a player that can come in and do something immediately, and I think you're right. I don't know if Ben White is that answer. I hope I'm wrong if we get him, and I hope he, obviously he does really well. But it does feel like a bit of a. Someone put it in the chat. Someone said it's a sideways move.
To me, I
feel that is. I feel it is.
I don't think Maguire, and I might get a bit of stick for this, but I don't think. I'll phrase it another way. I think Maguire and Lindelof theoretically are good enough to win the Premier League as a defensive pairing.
Right.
I don't think it's certain that we'll never win the league with them there. I think there are bigger problems further up the pitch than Maguire and Lindelof.
Yeah.
Now, if you're going to offer me, Raphael Varane for 60 million quid,
I
think that's good value, and I think he would improve that defence.
Yeah.
But the amount of people in the last 2 years who've said we should have kept Daley Blind, the amount of people who've said he'd been great under this system, he's great on the ball. At the time, very few people were sticking by him and saying that United should play with him. If Lindelof leaves Man United and goes to, and I could see it happening, maybe a Juventus or a Barcelona in particular, someone like that, a Bayern Munich somewhere, because I think he will get a big club. He could look like one of the best defenders in Europe, Victor Lindelof, in the right system. And I think it's unfair on him that he's, just essentially cast to one side. He's shit. We need to improve on him. I don't think either of those two are bad defenders. And I think if we sorted out the midfield in front of them, we know that this defence is decent because every season we have these runs and these spells of just ridiculous clean sheets in a row. Last season, there was a point, and maybe we finished the season that way, having the most clean sheets of any team in Europe. And Liverpool got 100 points last season, or thereabouts. United, I think in the last sort of 15 games have had 9 clean sheets. This isn't a bad defence. It's the midfield in front of it for me that's the problem. And I think Victor Lindelof and Maguire, as your main two, are good enough to win pretty much any big trophy. I just worry about what's going on in front of them.
It's a really good point. I mean, I'm just looking here now. United's defensive record this season isn't great. 32 goals against us.
The number of goals conceded this season is bad.
Yeah.
The amount of clean sheets again is good.
Sorry. Again though, you conceded 6 in one game against Spurs. You look at mitigating circumstances. Some of the games, it's been 1 or 2 pretty bad performances, but there's been a lot of. Me and you talking it again. I'll keep going on about preview, but we were talking about this thing of our record against the Big Six. The problem with against the Big Six for Manchester United this season hasn't been clean sheets. We've got them coming out of our arse. We keep keeping clean sheets against the Big Six. We've just not been scoring enough goals. I think the most we've conceded in a game against the Big Six is 1.
Yeah,
I think. And yet,
except Tottenham, obviously.
Tottenham. Good point. But the Scousers, Chelsea, Arsenal, City. I think we didn't concede any against City. Do you know what I mean in the league? So we've kept clean sheets. It's just the 0-0 against Arsenal away, the 1-0 at home against Arsenal, the 0-0 at Stamford Bridge, the 0-0 at home to Chelsea. Those have been really disappointing results. But that's not the defence's fault. No. Do you know what I mean? The defence has done its job. So I'm with you on that. I personally think that. I know probably more my heart talking than my head. Maybe there's still a future for Eric Bailly at a club, maybe. But I mean, again, anyone who's going to argue with me will just pull out his injury record, and I've not got much to say about that really, other than the fact that earlier on in his career he did have seasons where he didn't get injured that much. Hence the reason we bought him. So I know once you start getting injuries, it sort of goes downhill. But maybe he can have a season out of the doghouse, and if he does, I think that is a really strong defence. But Victor Lindelof, for me, I know you and Macca always say it was Paul Pogba in all his first season when he came in as caretaker, as your player of the season. But I think for consistency over the whole season, I think Victor Lindelof was the most consistent player, because whilst Pogba had that amazing sort of 15-game run where he was just unplayable, Victor Lindelof, even when Jose was there, was like 7 out of 10 most games, and I think that was what was lacking. So I like Victor Lindelof, but yeah, I think that some of these defenders we've been linked with are sideways move, and if we haven't got the budget that we think we might not have, if that makes any sense, if we haven't got 200 million to spend, are we going to go out and spend 50 of it? If we've only got 100 million, we spend half of it on a defender that isn't as better than any ones we've got.
And how old are Maguire and Lindelof? Are they both 27?
I think they are. That sounds very right to me.
When Van Dijk was 27, he was playing for Southampton.
26, Lindelof.
Yeah, playing for Southampton, getting put on his arse by Tony Marshall.
Yeah.
Like centre backs generally, Varane, to one side, don't hit their peak until they're around 30. You look at Jerome Boateng at Bayern Munich. At one time considered one of the best centre backs in the world. When he was 27, wasn't he barely getting a game for? He was at City obviously before that, but he wasn't considered one of the best in the world.
No.
There's a lot of centre backs especially take a little bit longer to mature, and I think in 2 years, Lindelof 26, Maguire I think 27 or 28. Couple of years' time, I think you'll have a really good defence, and I think it's already pretty good.
You made a point there about they can win the league. Who did Leicester win the league? I know people go on about it, but it's true.
Yeah.
They did. Robert Huth and Wes Morgan.
Chris Morgan. Chris Morgan's at Sheffield United. He didn't win the league.
Well, Wes Morgan and Robert Huth. Wes Morgan, I now am probably quicker than Wes Morgan was at the age of 31 or wherever he was in that defence. And Robert Huth had been like a Chelsea substitute at his peak.
I mean, if you look at Chelsea, wasn't David Luiz starting centre back for them?
Yeah.
For a couple of their title wins.
It's like,
and he's been full of shite his whole career.
It's possible with a decent defender, and I think we can both agree that no matter what you think of Lindelof and the decent, you just like you say, you need to have a strong team around him. Though you're not going to get away with that if the rest of your team isn't up to scratch.
Yeah, they're not good enough to pull through a shit team.
No,
I'm not saying that good.
It's not like you can just nick the odd goal here and there, and no, don't worry, these guys will carry us. It's you need a solid team around them as well. Darren Cox in the super chat says, can't go through another transfer window with all the clickbait that certain other United channels put up. Don't know who he's on about, but that's his comment. You guys keep it real with a real fan opinion. Subscribe here for your mental health. Appreciate that.
Cheers, mate.
Darren. Thanks for your support and your super chat as well. Jedi Store says, Huth, played as a striker as much as a defender. Guizmister says 60 million on Varane is a waste of time. Real Madrid don't get rid willingly of decent players. We slate Maguire for making mistakes, but Varane makes more.
Yep.
Simoa says we need better centre-backs. Maguire and Lindelof aren't good enough. We've already discussed this. We disagree somewhat. I mean, the thing with Real Madrid is you don't know what's going on behind the scenes there. Someone earlier in the comments said, is this just Varane wanting to get more money out of him?
Could be.
Ramos has done that pretty much.
I was going to say, do you remember how close it looked for us to sign Ramos when Van Gaal came in?
And then
it looked like that might well happen.
Yeah.
And just got to do it. I mean, one thing with Madrid, in terms of behind the scenes, the money they've spent, was it Jovic, was it that they bought?
Yeah, I mean, they had a right spending spree,
yeah,
wasn't
they
it?
bought, 2019 or 2019 they played the ball. Really, the only one of them who's been a definite success has been Mendy, who's taken over from Marcelo as their starting left-back. They spent 250 million or 300 million near enough on about 6 players that most of which haven't really come off.
I mean,
You've got the list there.
Yeah, I've just gone
Talk
through
through
it.
as that.
So
they might need the money is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, I can't believe this is all happening because a lot of it was end of loans. So you've got Eder Militao, am I saying that right?
Eder Militao from Porto.
50 million euros. Eden Hazard, they've got him down euros, 115 million euros.
Fuck off, and he's played... He's had more weeks out injured than he has games played, I think.
Yeah, Luka Jovic, as you mentioned, 60 million euros.
From Frankfurt, was it?
Yeah. Ferland Mendy from Lyon for 48 million euros. Rodrigo from Santos, 45 million.
What the fuck were they doing?
And then there's loads of frees.
But they're the big ones. That's enough.
And there's one more sort of semi-big one, Reiner from Flamengo, who was 30 million. So
how much is that? Can we do the maths on that quickly?
30 plus 45 is 75.
Yeah.
Plus 50, should we say, 125, plus 60, 185, plus 115, 300 mil, plus 50, 350 mil. Add all the other little siddlers that I've left out, that's like another 10 mil.
360 million euros. And what? You can only definitely say one of them has been a success, and that's Mendy. I mean, fuck me. So we talk about, Madrid not letting players go lightly, and I know they don't. Who knows what they've got to bargain with? If they're trying to get Erling Haaland this summer, they may well have to sell someone in order to do that, because that is a lot of money on players that if you sold them all now, you're getting 20 for, maybe 30 million for Hazard, but even that, who would buy him for that? Jovic, similar kind of money. Rodrigo, if that, incredible really that summer that they had, and I don't know how much they've got in the bank, to be honest.
It's mental. Yeah. Like it's insane that they've got all that money. They spend all that money
like that.
Like you say, the thing with Real Madrid is there's been stories for years and years going back to I remember when I was a lot younger when it was when they were going for Figo and it's they haven't got any money. Well, they did. And they brought the transfer. And at the time we haven't got enough money for Zidane, and they did.
46 million, another world record fee.
That
world record fee stood for years.
Yeah, they went from there's money issues to just having enough money to buy. And also,
Beckham,
Madrid, you nailed it. When they do this, Madrid, they don't just go, right, well, that's our entire budget on that one player. They go, no, what, we've got Zidane, now let's get Beckham, let's get, Roberto Carlos in, let's get all these Galacticos, as they call them. So they always go massive in the transfer market on several players. So who knows what's going on with Varane, and who knows what's going on with Erling Haaland as well. You can never count Real Madrid out of any transfer deal once they're interested in it.
What's up next?
I don't know, this is another one who I don't know a lot about him. You might know a little bit more. I hope you do.
You know what? If we don't know him, rattle through him.
Sven Botman.
Sven Botman. Don't know about him. Where does he play?
He plays in centre back. He's from.
Of course, right. One thing is for certain, and I'm saying this now: Man United want a centre back because we're linked with about 40 of them in this episode.
Right.
Sven Botman. That's a lie of a name.
Do you know what? Right. I saw this when we were going through the running order. I saw it, and there's a little part of me that was thinking, what is that?
He plays for Stretford Paddock FC.
Is that like a new director of football, or is it a new sponsor we've got?
I think he's in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That guy, Sven Botman, is hawk arse.
I'm not going to stand there and do none of the things where you pretend.
No.
So I've always rated him. Botman, the Boxster.
Here's what you need to know about him. United are linked with him. We might sign him. If we do, we'll let you know. Next story, Jay.
I like that, yeah.
Because let's not pretend we know anything about him. No. I don't even know what club he plays for.
He's at Lille. He's 21 years old. He's obviously a younger option, and he's left-footed, which appeals to some people.
Louis van Gaal.
He won't be, apparently, being a left-footed centre-back is the thing for United. Shit. But I think that's bollocks.
When's the last time United had a world-class left-footed centre-back?
I'd pass.
Have you ever had one?
I don't know. I don't even know what fucking foot they are. I've been brutally honest. Left foot. Well, you don't see him taking free kicks or, do you know what I mean? Or crossing
passing it.
Yeah, you know what I mean. What do you remember when Rio hurt his foot and he just used his other foot? Do you remember?
That's so 50s, isn't it? Sorry, I've got another one.
Do you remember?
Don't worry.
He injured himself and he literally only passed with his left foot. It was that's just different levels to that man. So because. Do you remember when Ollie spoke to Nathan Ackett at the end of a game and people just made up what he said? Said he said to him, "You're left-footed. I need a left-footed centre-back. Look after yourself." And he didn't say any of those things.
I think he did. I believe it.
Right.
So watch your mouth, mate. Because this table, yes, it's COVID safe, these boxes, but you know what? I can cross that gap pretty quickly.
He said it.
Right.
I made a mistake.
Yeah, you did.
He said those words. Yeah. I was wrong.
You've pissed yourself and all, mate.
I'm fucking right.
You're going to say sorry for that, yeah?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Good.
Don't mock the elderly.
What's the next story?
Right.
Keep your
Send men. Down. I don't fuck about with Worksop's finest. Martial is injured.
Joking.
Do you know what?
Well, how's he going to carry on scoring all the goals this season now? He's injured.
Oh, very funny.
Cheeky.
I see what you've done there.
Cheeky,
because he's not scored that many goals.
Not really scored so
Joe's mocking him.
Not mockery.
Saying, how are we going to cope without his 4 Premier League goals this season? Well, you know my thoughts. I'm not quite Martial FC by any stretch of imagination, but I'm not, giving up on the lad. I'm not.
That was a joke, obviously.
Yeah, I know he was. And also, he had that good game, didn't he, the Etihad?
Oh, what game?
Man of the match.
Man of the match. He took the ball down. He passed it a couple of times.
Yeah.
Didn't score.
No. But it was you hope, don't you? Maybe this can be a sort of a starting block for him the end of the season. He's not going to save his season, but
the season's
could it be he has this magical end to the season? Like Sedi in 99.
That's what we've been saying.
You always say this, don't we? He could score in the fight. Well, we did say the FA Cup.
But the problem is, Jay, he keeps playing in the games where he's meant to be scoring,
and he doesn't.
He don't fucking score.
He don't do the scoring bit of the game.
At some point, you can't score in the FA Cup final when you don't get us to the FA Cup.
Do you know what it is
final.
as well, right? You were making this point.
You have to kind of get us there.
You were making this point of with Maguire. people like on this thing again. I keep referring to the preview. I think it was on the Brighton preview.
It must be a great preview.
It's
that.
amazing,
Check it out
mate.
on Saturday. Everything we want to talk about.
We spoke about it's an 8-hour preview. But you were saying like with Maguire, people blame him for everything.
Yeah.
And I think with Martial, his fan base will like excuse him for everything.
Yeah.
And it's to the point of like they don't want to say like, oh, he should have scored that, or it'll be something like, oh well, the movement around him was terrible, and oh, you know what, that was a under-hit pass to him, and just shit like that. He's not having
all
a
those
great...
times he was clean thrown goal.
Yeah,
he's entitled to have a mess about.
Yeah, and I think you have to be a bit honest around him, and it's not been a great season for him. A player of his calibre should be scoring more than I think it is actually 4 Premier League goals.
Let's be honest,
this season. But as I said earlier, I still rate him. I don't think he's a bad player.
No.
I just think he's suffering with a massive loss of confidence at the minute, and we've seen the bits that he can do in terms of his build-up play. We saw it against City, I keep referring to that, but he did get man of the match for a reason. It's just that final thing that's letting him down at the minute.
Yeah, and without trying to overstate what's going on with Martial, because, like you said, I don't think he's a shit player just because he's had a bad season. I don't think he's done as a footballer. But with the conversations that are happening between fans, with the types of players United are looking to buy, I don't think it's overstating it by saying if he doesn't turn his form around soon, as in... Again, this season's done, but maybe end this season well and see where his time at United isn't untouchable. Yeah. Like, he's not a million miles away from, right, we'll get a new one then. And as much as that pains me to say.
Do you think that if you're Ollie,
yeah,
who was a fantastic finisher,
yeah,
and you're looking at the guy now who's number 9 for Manchester United, you've probably,
literally,
you've spent time with him on a training pitch, you've seen that, it isn't happening for him. Are you going to be a bit like, do you know what? Are you going to be harsher on him because of who you are and what you've done and what you've seen so far? Do you think that Ollie might just be like, you know what, man, I can't keep relying on this kid. Yeah. I would have put some of these chances away. And he's the number 9 for Manchester United. And let's not forget as well, for a lot of Ollie's career, he wasn't first choice. No. He wasn't. It was York and Cole, or, I think he was still around when Van Nistelrooy came in, and Teddy sort of leapfrogged him at one point as well.
And he was still getting 10, 15, 20 goals a season.
He was out on right wing, wasn't he, for the 2002-03 season. Yeah. So, do you feel like that maybe Solskjaer won't be as patient with him as some of us feel? Because Solskjaer's been making the right comments in public, hasn't he? About he's backing him and so he's not going anywhere.
He said how good he was as well at the City game, didn't he?
Yeah.
He came out and specifically.
But I just wonder that if you're, because of Ollie and what the striker he was and the finisher he was, maybe he's looking at going, this is just not good enough, and I can't assist.
I wonder, because there's part of you that thinks maybe he'll give him a bit of extra time because he has the sympathy, because he did the same thing. But I wouldn't be surprised if he sat there going, most top strikers, which is what United need, don't have a season where they score 6 goals.
No.
Certainly not at 24 years old.
No.
Like, Wayne Rooney had a bad year, would be 10 goals, 10 assists.
Yeah.
And that's toward the end of his career.
Yeah, that's like 29-30, which for Rooney was like, he'd been playing since he was 16, which was sort of past his best.
Most top strikers, which is what United need if they want to be the best team in the world, don't have a season where they score 6 goals. So it'd be interesting to see. I mean, to be honest, I'd take a 12-goal season from Martial next season, because if he has another one like this, I think he is done at United. I'm not saying I would sell him right now, nothing like that. I'm just thinking how football works and the noises that have been made around Manchester United. It's clear Ole wants Erling Haaland. He's essentially said as much, but even if he hasn't, all of the journalists that seem to know these things have said that. I don't think Erling Haaland comes in and starts behind Anthony Martial.
No. So, let's be realistic. Even Martial FC,
he's got a kind of
would have trouble.
Whether it's his fault or it's not, or we don't make enough chances for him or whatever, he has to sort it out, and pretty soon. Otherwise, he might not get too many more chances.
As you can see there in the graphic, just before we move on to the last one, it says Martial got injured on international duty and he will be unable to play against Brighton in the Premier League. He's also a doubt for the Europa League semi-final first leg. So, as we've been saying, we wanted him to have a good end to the season, and at the minute it looks like he may have a very short end to the season because he's injured for some important games there, which is a shame for him, because I wanted to see him build on that good performance at the Etihad and salvage something of this season for him, which has been almost a disaster. Yeah. One final story we're going to do is Paul Labille Pogba.
There he is.
I mean, unless you've been living in a cave, and even if you've been living in a cave, you probably know this.
Get decent Wi-Fi in caves.
Exactly.
I tell you what, if you've been living in a cave, that's no excuse. You still ought to know about Paul Pogba.
Well, you know, Osama bin Laden lived in a cave, and he was
and he knew about Paul Pogba. Is that what you're trying to say? How was he even brought into this?
Because he still had internet, didn't he? He was making them videos and all that.
Actually,
that's what I mean. Yeah, that's my point. He was in the cave in the Afghan hills, wherever he was, and he was still managing to get decent Wi-Fi connection to post these horrible videos. I mean, you know, he should have spent his time tracking the movements of Real Pogba and trying to, you know, focus on something else other than being a terrorist, in my opinion. But such is life.
Anyway. Is this you as his career advisor?
Yeah, Sama, you know this terrorism, mate. Like,
well, it's not going to get you anywhere.
Oh, come on, man.
Unless you want to be buried at sea, you better book your fucking ideas up, mate. Right. Rest of that, don't talk about him anymore. What's done is done.
Okay. Sorry, anyway, Paul Pogba, as we all know, is going to... Well, is he going to sign a new deal? That's the big question. It says here on the graphic, no talks or agreements to extend Paul Pogba's contract. Do you think Paul Pogba will sign a new contract for Manchester United or leave this summer? That's a general question to the popular.
I think neither is my answer.
This is from Romano as well, I think.
I believe he won't do either of those things. I think he will stay and run down the last year of his contract because I don't think we can afford to lose him. I don't think we can afford to sell him. Well, when I say we can't afford to sell him, I don't mean financially. I mean in terms of on the pitch. I don't think we'll replace him with anyone of any worth if we do sell him. I think if we do sell him, we'll probably get 50, 60 million for him, which is, let's be honest, if he had 4 years left on his contract, half of what he's worth. He's one of the best midfielders in the world. I think he'll stay 1 more year and then leave on a free. I don't think he's going to sign a new deal. No. I hope he does, but I mean, why would he? And if he was going to, why hasn't he? Everything that comes out, everyone that talks about him, everyone that has ever spoken about Paul Pogba since he joined Manchester United has hinted, including himself, he would like to play for another club.
And going back to when he arrived from Le Havre, when he was here as a child, he was like, when he was 18, 19, it was like he was linked to Juve and he left for Juve.
And he's not just going to keep signing deals at United. He's not just going to stay here for 10 years because, we want you to. Please stay for another 5 years. He's going to go at some point. I just don't think we can afford to sell him, so I don't think we will. I think he'll go for a free next year.
Do you think that maybe because Raiola's on his European tour with his brand new shiny toy, that he may not be as focused on Paul Pogba getting rid of him, and he might just be like, oh
shit, I've signed that contract by accident.
No, like he might
5-year deal, £8 a week.
The thing with Raiola is he's very hands-on with Pogba and trying to move him on.
Yeah.
He's been like, you're moving, you're going. My point is, if he's getting, 10% of 150 million euros, he might not be as fanatical about getting rid of Pogba if Pogba's like, do you know what, I'll give it another go, another year here. He might be like, okay, because I think Raiola does have his ear. I don't think this is an agent where Pogba just dictates to the agent, and the agent does as he's told. I think they're very much sort of, he listens to Pogba, to Raiola. You were reading a bit of Sir Alex Ferguson's book last time we did this the other day, where Sir Alex Ferguson...
I read.
You read loads of books. All the books.
Most of the words as well, which is the hard bit. The front cover's easy. Yeah. That's the one thing I found with books. Look at the front covers all day, mate. Once you get to those fucking tiny little squiggles inside, that's where my brain gets to the difficulties.
I just go on Wikipedia and read the synopsis of the book and then pretend I've read it.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier.
Way easier. Or watch a 3.5-minute YouTube video. What is of mice and men mean?
Yeah. Oh,
Google that.
Yeah. They're all skint in the...
Yeah, and he shoots his face.
Yeah.
In a creek.
Exactly.
Easy. Squeezed a cat too hard or something. Sorry,
hey,
go on.
Lenny.
So I was reading Sir Alex Ferguson's book the other day.
Yeah, and he was saying about how Raiola got in Pogba's ear basically as a kid, and he got into it with his family, and he all sort of started listening to him, and that's when the relationship between Paul Pogba and Manchester United really went south. My point being, Raiola obviously has a big influence on Paul Pogba and he's able to sort of manoeuvre him quite a little bit. Maybe if he's happy, Raiola's happy with the amount of money he's got from Erling Haaland and Pogba's like not that keen on a move, could that mean anything, or do you think that's just wishful thinking?
I think it's wishful thinking. Yeah, I think he's got enough time. It's not just Mino Raiola. He'll have half a dozen or a dozen sort of agents working underneath him who can do the paperwork side of things. We've had this come in, this side of things. He makes the decisions, but he's not the only one who's working for Mino Raiola Industries. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like he's going to run out of time and he's accidentally going to sign a contract for Paul Pogba that he doesn't want.
No, I think you're right. I think Paul Pogba, he's been saying it for so long that he wants to go or that, dropping these hints. I mean, he said it one summer. He said he wanted to go on a new challenge. Then he's dropped other hints. Raiola's obviously come out and said a lot. Madrid 21 in the super chat says, sell Pogba, De Gea and Tony, bring in Haaland and Rice. You think that's good business?
Yeah.
I do as well.
I'd do that in a heartbeat.
If that was an offer, if that was a deal we could do, I'd do it, but Because I think, like you say, Pogba's going to go, maybe get one more season out of him at best. Also, his injury record isn't great of late, Paul Pogba. He's had a couple of seasons now where he's missed chunks of the season. It's probably the last 3 seasons, isn't it? This season, last season, and the last one under Jose, the full season under Jose.
But when you look at the games he missed last season, he was lucky because a lot of the time he was injured was during COVID.
Yeah, he would have missed like
a lot of games.
He would have only made about 5 or 6 games, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Like towards the very end of the season, where because you had that 3-month break, he came back and was pretty match fit actually when he came back. To be fair, remember he came on against Spurs and changed the game. So yeah, I would love Paul Pogba to stay and be focused and be the player that we know he can be. But I think we have to admit that it's sooner or later he's going to go, and that's probably going to be sooner. We're going to wrap it up there. Joe, thank you very much for talking me through all those centre-back signings. It was Centre-Back FC
about
tonight,
20 we're getting.
It's ridiculous.
Amazing.
From like all ages, from all over the globe. Do you know what I mean? If you're a centre-back, we want you at Manchester United Football Club. What have we got coming up this week?
We've got loads coming up. If you haven't checked it out already, it is out. Adam McCullough's interview with Raphael Varane has already
That is mint, by the way. That's one of the best interviews we've had on this channel. I mean that. If you watch it, it's great. It's funny. It's quite moving as well.
A lot of insight as
well. Because Ravel Morrison, for those who don't know, we talk about Paul Pogba. When Paul Pogba came from, when we got him from the Harvard, he was in that youth team. There was Pogba, there was Lingard, there was some other good players like Will Keane, Ryan Tunnicliffe, who I used to love. But Ravel Morrison stood out. He was the star of that team. He was amazing. And it never really happened for him at United. He had this reputation of being a troubled youth, shall we say, got himself into a little bit of trouble with the police and whatnot, and then just went to so many different clubs, it's unreal. But he sat down with McCullough, had a good chat with him, explained what went down, why it didn't work out for him at United, and what he still hopes to do with his career. Just go and check it out, it's on the channel. Yeah. Also, what else?
Well, we're back, obviously, this preview that we've mentioned about 20 times.
We've done a preview?
That's coming out on Saturday. Make sure you check that out. And of course, on Sunday, we'll have Adam McCullough, we'll have you, we'll have me. We are here for the watch-along for Manchester United against Brighton. Football is back, proper football. None of this
playing postman.
Number 71 in the world versus number 82 in the world. Get over yourself.
No, the San Marino right back, he works at cost cutter in the week.
Yeah.
So that about, eh? Do you know what I mean? No, proper football against Ben White, the way God intended.
Ben White.
Ben White
Asuikotu.
Go and check Joe Smith 93 out on the socials. You know where to find me, Jay Moy. This has been Stretford Paddock Transfers Live. Thanks for watching.